to introduce myself, Julie. I am your coordinator for the evening on the weekend with Sally, who is co-coordinating as well, Sally Lyric. We are extremely privileged to introduce our speaker for this evening for the weekend. She comes to us from Mexico and is traveling a bit in the U.S. teaching this program. So we are very happy that you are here. Thank you. Marcia Shibata is a KadoRigdenIkebana instructor within the Shambhala community, and she is the co-founder of the Shambhala KadoRigden School of Ikebana. She is a student of Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche and Sakyam Nipon Rinpoche, and she has studied and practiced in both a major classical and modern Ikebana school. She teaches from the view of nature's innate wisdom and the Buddhist Shambhala compassionate warriorship. In 2013, she was bestowed the title of Artist to the Calico Court. And this evening she will be doing a demonstration as well as sharing her wisdom. And now, of course, the name of the talk, the wisdom that arises naturally. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be with you. I've heard of Atlanta and good fortune had to receive the means to make this shrine hall for practice and study a number of years ago. And I never thought I would have the opportunity to be here and see it, let alone offer this practice to Atlanteans. So thank you, Dan, who is the director of the Center for Connecting, and for Julia and Sally for helping Dan create the situation for all of us. Now tonight is supposed to be an open talk, is that correct? So some of you will not do the program and some of you will, which is wonderful. But I thought that a topic that would help us all, whether we do meditation practice or not, is to speak about the heart of the matter. First of all, what is the matter? Sometimes we call it confusion. Sometimes we call it fear. Sometimes we call it those are pretty big ones, aren't they? How can we go beyond that? And that's exactly the journey of meditation. How can we go beyond confusion and fear? That's what the Buddha was teaching. He wasn't teaching Ikebana. He was teaching how to really go to the heart of the matter. Confusion, fear, and I'll throw in one more piece, separateness, separate from other, the person you're sitting next to. Do you feel akin to them, or do you feel separate? Just be honest to yourself, you don't have to say anything. Do you feel akin to me, or do you feel separate? Do I feel akin to you, or do I feel separate? That's the heart of the matter. The whole journey of the way of meditation, which is couched in the way of Kado, or the way of flowers, begins to open the answer for us, and we already know it. Intellectually or conceptually, we can already feel it through our senses and through our living, our experiences, but we don't trust it. Why don't we trust it? Well, that's a long story. I don't think we should go there tonight because of time, but our practices, in this case we call it Kado, or the way of flowers. The Japanese call it Ikebana. Probably you know it from that word, Ikebana. The original word is Huadao, which is Chinese for the way of the flower. And this actually doesn't mean just flowers, but all living plant material. The entire situation started in China, and it survived through Japanese culture because of historical events called war and survival. So thank you, Japan. Thank you, China. First of all and foremost, thank you, Mother Nature. Because before there was the Buddha, the historical Buddha, which many of you know about, before there was the way from the Taoist point of view, before there was the Great Spirit that is talked about in Indian culture of the America world, before there was Yahweh from the Jewish world, before there was the God from the Christian world, or the person that brought the Word of God to the earth, Jesus Christ, there was Mother Nature. And all, let's call it universal understandings or universal views start from the truth of nature. So before Christianity, for example, we had the way of the Buddha and Taoism from the East, and we had the Hindu view. Very complicated, nevertheless, very much in sync with nature. There were the wrathful gods in the Hindu world, and there were the nurturing gods of the Hindu world. Look at that. Life and death. Honoring life, honoring death. And out of that, you find that it's a cycle, like the cycle of what we call seasons. This is, we're in Georgia. This is sort of temperate zone, but it's sort of edging on the, what's that wet, there's a lot of tropicalness here. So you have a kind of mixed situation between temperate and pure tropical. But you see life and death happening all the time in your four seasons. It's a natural event. You don't have to look to Mother Nature, you can look to yourself. Once you were a baby, then you were a toddler, then you were a teen, then you were a wild 20-year-old, and then maybe you're a wild 35-year-old. But you can see that the ripening of your life is happening. And you look at the elders, they're in the autumn of their time. And just like an apple tree, or tomato plant, they are giving their fruit of their wisdom to the young ones, their family, their grandchildren. If they're a teacher in the school, they give it to the young ones. So the four seasons are not out there, they're in you as well, all of you. And if you don't know about autumn yet because you're young and you're beautiful and fresh, don't worry about it, it will come. And the wisdom that comes with that, and the questions that come with that will arise. And I think also answers. And then there's the winter of our life in which we actually begin to forget to turn the fire off on the stove. So somebody comes along and says, "Hey, Uncle, you forgot to..." But you don't even remember. Why are you here? And then finally what we call perish or death arises. And we move on. But is death the final thing? It depends on which world view you take upon and cultivate and test. You have to test this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You say, what do you mean? La 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 la. Yada yada yada. What do you mean? How do you know? In the world of nature, things don't die forever and ever and ever in what's called winter. It actually just goes to sleep. The tulip, do you have tulips here? So you know they arise and they go back. But that little bulb from which the tulip arose is making its babies or children for the next season, and it's underground. It has to go through a cold period, and that happens in Atlanta, cold period. I'm glad. In the next season, the children come up from the same bulb. And it's been a whole industry in Europe. The Dutch people, they do this, they dig up the bulbs, they divide them, they sell them, and the tulips are all over the world. So in the story of nature, death is really just resting or sleeping. So that you can arise fresh. We do this every day. We go to bed, hopefully at a decent hour, and we arise fresh for the next day. It's the cycle of our day. We have spring, summer, autumn, and winter, which comes around to spring again. So there's the cycle of life and death. If the word death frightens you, you can say it's the cycle of change. If that's not rich enough for you, you can say it's the cycle of arising. What's the opposite of arising?
Dissolving.
Dissolving. Lovely. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Dissolving. And that is important to know, because if we don't dissolve, or if the tulip doesn't dissolve, or if the situation doesn't dissolve, there's no room for new growth, freshness. That's what the Buddha taught. That's what the Taoists taught. That's what we teach here in Shambhala. To be brave, to let go, so that fresh time, fresh space can arise, so that freshness can always be on our plate, rather than leftover spaghetti 25 years ago. How do we do that? How do we let wisdom arise by itself? How do we do that? How do we do that? I think this practice of Kado actually is one of the most important ways through which students can understand how to let wisdom arise by itself. Because even though tomorrow, for example, I'll introduce everybody to what I call boot camp. There are forms, and you'll see there's a lot of blah, 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 blah. You go, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is too much or whatever. But nevertheless, these boot camp forms slowly over the years show you the subtleties of sameness in nature. And it's the subtleties that teach us the refinement that we can see, know, and feel in everyday life. Whether we are making chicken salad or cleaning a room. That's a far cry from Ikebana, isn't it? But not really. Not really. Not really at all. Because life asks of us to constantly make decisions. Is that not so? Do you want water, or do you want Perrier water? Or do you want green water? Or do you want water with lemon? Or this is America, so there's probably 12 more kinds of water that you want to offer. And you have to make all these decisions. So if you don't have an awful lot of time, how are you going to take care of that situation? Just sort of grab for one? And very often we do. But if you are in tune with your wisdom, which you're born with, then you can know right now, not green water, sparkling water. That's pretty easy, isn't it? If you have 13 choices. I wonder if there are 13 kinds of water. Probably are at this point. I know there's 47 kinds of mustard in the what do you call it? The grocery store when I visited Boulder, Colorado. Do you realize how much time I waste? And time is so precious. Yeah. Or you just know what's the good one for whatever you're doing. This wisdom pool doesn't get bigger than you have, or doesn't become smaller. It's always there, whether confusion falls over you or not. This wisdom pool is called Buddha nature from the Buddha world. This wisdom pool is called basic goodness in the Shambhala world. This wisdom pool is called knowing from the Taoist world. It doesn't matter what it's called. The important thing is to know how to go there, wait, and let wisdom arise without manipulation. Meditation is, of course, an important key. So in Kado we teach meditation, or we practice meditation before we do an exercise. so as to slow down and actually cut excitement. Because our practices often evoke excitement. I'm going to make something. I'm going to make something beautiful. I'm going to make something beautiful and something better than everybody else. We get off on so many kinds of journeys. We call them trips in American language. But in fact, the journey is not about separation. The journey is understanding how we are all connected. Not just people to people, but people to the organic world of plants. They sense. They know if you are going to rip them out and put them in the garbage. I was just reading something last night which is really interesting. Plants can send out a chemical kind of horrible taste in their veins. Some plants, they can send it out into their leaves when one leaf is being chewed up by a caterpillar. So the rest of the plant says, and it goes, interesting, right? So don't eat those leaves. The next one might be full of poison. We thought they were just sitting there, green things that we can chew up. No. It's living. It's a sentient being. Sentient being means a being that senses. So all things big and small in Mother Nature sense. They sense love, and they sense the opposite of love. If you love a plant in your home, people have home plants in their home, if you love them, they will, and that means you will care for them, usually, they will flourish. They're like a pet. Do you have pets? Anybody have pets? Do they respond to you? And you respond to them. It's life. Sentient being means life. L-I-F-E, alive. And therefore it's going to do its journey, whether it's a piece of broccoli or a person. And then someday it's going to perish, go on to the next step. But it senses the presence of you and how you may treat them. We're talking about broccoli and flowers now, but it's very profound. We're talking about broccoli, flowers, and pets. It's very profound. How do we treat other people? But more importantly, how do we treat ourselves? Do we appreciate ourselves? Even when we're grumpy and confused, or our hair is falling out, or our teeth are falling out, or we are so terribly alone. Can we appreciate that? And appreciation doesn't mean, saying, oh, my loneliness is so beautiful. I've come to feel that appreciation means acceptance. Acceptance of our teeth falling out. Acceptance of our beautiful, youthful, long eyelashes when we're 21. I know it can be an ego trip, but someday those eyelashes are going to fall out. But you don't have to worry about it now if you have 21-year-old eyelashes. Acceptance. Can we accept our lineage? The people that came before us, our Scottish, our Irish, our French, our Mexican, our African, our Canadian, our Asian, can we accept our lineage? So much effort from all those people to help us be born and actually come to a talk like this, where we're curious about wisdom. You already have it. It comes right through your line. It doesn't matter what the line is. I'm talking about ancestral line. Did I say it right? There's wisdom and there's confusion, but there's wisdom. And there's confusion, but there's wisdom. So it's our job to sort out and take the good, take the wisdom, keep it, know it, and pass it on to our children and our friends. Or maybe just the lady in the grocery store who needs a little help. That's your chance. 1 moment at a time. That's our chance. 1 minute at a time. Bus lines, grocery stores. It's not all fancy with meditation cushions and, beautiful meditation halls. It's rough driving in, what do you call it, rush hour traffic. 1 moment at a time. Sometimes the wisdom is not to help. Sometimes it's wiser to leave things alone. So that's a nice koan to also contemplate. Don't touch. Let it figure itself out by itself, because we're just invading or laying our trip on the situation. How do we know whether we offer or don't offer? You have to feel it. You have to sense it. So letting wisdom arise by itself is not through concept. It's through sensing. And that's why I say again, flower practice or kado practice is so beautifully designed. No, I won't say it's designed, that sounds too funny. It's a beautiful path to help us to trust our on the moment insight about something. You don't even have to put words to it. See, no, yes or no. And I'm making it very slick. It takes quite a few years to get to that. At least it did for me. So I don't want to make fancy promises right off the bat, because I'm afraid it would lead you astray. I would like to end this small talk with a teaching from Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is the person who is given credit for being the father of Taoism, Chinese. His life, I think, was pretty much parallels the Buddha. I think he was 500 years before the Buddha, so let's say 3,000 years ago, more or less. I think it's teaching 14. This is in my memory, which sometimes doesn't work so well. Sorry. The memory doesn't matter, the teaching does. The teaching is simply, do you have the patience to let your dirty water settle? And if you don't like the word dirty, because it's a loaded word, all words are, you can say cloudy. Do you have the patience to let your cloudy water settle? Second part, do you have the patience to let the solution arise by itself? And that's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. First sentence, do you. So they're pointing right to the individual, the you. Do you have the patience? Second sentence, do you have the patience to let the solution arise by itself? Notice the difference? It doesn't belong to you. The solution doesn't belong to you. How marvelous and how scary for some people. Nevertheless, that's our journey. I wrote down a few things that may be helpful. They belong in this conversation. Allowing wisdom to arise by itself requires not being afraid to not know. Don't be afraid to not know. Don't be afraid to hold in the seat of not knowing. To sit in the eye of the storm, as some people call it. Sometimes we have problems or challenges in life. It takes a couple of years to solve it, maybe 20. Do you have the patience to sit in not knowing for 20 years? Of course, we mentioned patience. Patience is probably one of the greatest virtues of humanity. At this age, particularly, can polish. His patience is not only with other, it's always with self, particularly with self. It goes along with appreciation, which means acceptance. What's going on now? Maybe you're really irritated and angry. Do you have the bravery to feel that feeling and hang in there with it? It will pass. Unless you feed it potato chips. It will pass. If you let it, if you're naturally flowing with your life, it will pass. But if you hang onto it, feed it potato chips, it will consume you. These feelings of anger, jealousy, and regret. What are a few other ones? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Let's go to the other side. Hanging on to always wanting to hold on to happiness, gaiety. And the uppers. So we hang on the uppers, we hang on to the downers, and we're stuck. We become stuck. Life is not stuck. Life is like a river, she always flows. And you always flow too. But we in the human world tend to stuck it through beliefs and concepts, and fear, and confusion. So we just covered that point about constantly being open to change. Not expecting a result. That's a good one. Not expecting results to be one way or the other. That's a really good one in flower practice because we have this idea of trying to have it look like the teacher's example or whatever we think we're going to try to do, but it ends up doing different. Which is good, because that's where a teacher comes around and says, well, maybe, blah, blah, blah. Because we're not really in flower practice trying to make something beautiful. We're trying actually to work with relationship that is workability, that is work. Because life is nothing but relationship. Whether it's you and your dog hair, or you and your dirty coffee cup, or you and your anger, or you and your joy. That's all it is, whether you live alone or live with people. It's all about relationship. The relationship with time, the relationship with wanting, the relationship with disappointment, the relationship with, I don't know, you put anything at the end of that and you'll say, oh yeah, right. The relationship with silence. The big one, of course, which I love, the relationship with space. Which is always there. To accommodate everything. I had another one, I can't find it anymore. Maybe it's not important. Alright, that's enough. So let's do a little demonstration. I'll try to do a few things for you, and then if there's time, we can have a little chat or more questions. Okay? By the end of the situation. So, I usually start out with what's called a classic arrangement. Classic arrangement means that it's representing the whole universe in one container. And also, it's representing the profundity of the principles of heaven, earth, and man. Tell me what to see. You don't have to stand.
Oh, this is starting.
You want to stand?
Yeah.
All right. Well, sure. Whatever you want to do. So the principles of heaven, earth, and man are not a democratic setup. They're actually a hierarchical setup. And they come from the wisdom of nature. It has nothing to do with philosophy from the point of view of, let's go to a high contrast. Do you remember the fellow from France called Descartes? He said, I think, therefore I am. So to him, that was the proof that he existed because he was thinking. Well, that was an interesting idea. And it set off a whole cultural event, which people live in as reality. But before that, there was the observation that the planet itself, this planet, actually has a lot of wisdom through its cycles. So the principles of heaven, earth, and man were, how can you say, labeled or identified and then recognized as being the forms of sane unfolding. What are we talking about? Well, very simply, heaven contains the sun. Now you remember that you have to go back about 3,000 years now. And we didn't have telescopes to find Pluto and Saturn and all of that. The ancients only were aware of the sun, the moon, the stars, the rain, the clouds, everything that comes from up there happens up there. And it falls down here. And it affects us. So if it's snowing, we're going to be cold. Right? So everybody runs in the house and gets their jacket. But if it's really hot, we're really hot. So we take off our jacket. So that sounds stupid, but in fact, that's exactly what happened. When the cycle of the seasons actually happened, people began to realize that it was a repetitive pattern, and that when star configurations were in certain ways, they knew that it was time to get ready to gather together to go hunting, because the buffalo were coming through, or the fish were going this way, or the squirrels were going that way, or whatever, so they could gather for the winter, because that meant survival. And I'm really going back down to the caveman days, but that's exactly what we did as a group. And then when we started planting things like rice, corn, and wheat, we would also read the sky to know when to start cutting the earth. They call it tilling the soil, in order to prepare it for the seeds. So the first cycles of spring were not. When do we start spring? The Gregorian calendar. March 21. Okay.
March 21, 22.
Something like that. Okay. So in the earlier calendar, spring actually started in January, February. Because this was the time when things were beginning to open. So the timing was different. It was by the moon, not by the Gregorian. I don't even understand the Gregorian calendar. Never mind about that. But it was all read. You understand what I mean? Reading? Read by the sky's activities. Sun, moon, stars. And the events affected this earth. It helped to understand this movement because then we knew when to start tilling or gathering the tools for hunting, and then we also knew when to harvest. Because without that, through the winter when there's no food growing or something that we can kill for meat, everybody starves. That's it. It's the end of the show. So the wisdom from the heaven fell to the earth, and humanity, if we were awake and paid attention and followed it, there would be good life. That's it. That's it. If we went against it, and we were couch potatoes, and we didn't plant the corn, everybody died. That's it. So heaven, earth, and man is a hierarchy from the point of view of natural wisdom, following the patterns. Now we know about solar systems and all that stuff, but I'm not even talking about that because we're going back 3,000 years and more. Following the patterns that are coming out of the sky or coming from the sky down to the earth, and we pay attention as a group or as individual, and therefore we can continue at least one more year with our children and our aunties and all the rest of it. It's so simple, isn't it? But if we turn against it, then we run into trouble. So this, if you think about it, man doesn't have a choice. You know, in the democratic society, we say, oh, choice. In this system, there's no choice. Natural wisdom, there's no choice. And then you think, oh, but I'm an individual and I want my choice. But it flips on us. Because when we don't feel our body properly, or sensing our body properly, meaning clearly, or we don't feel the environment clearly, then, and we want to put our idea on it, on the body or the environment, then we are pushing against natural wisdom. Then confusion arises, and also, it's more than confusion, it's actually sickness. Let's use the example of food. Everybody like chocolate cake? Vanilla cake? That's my favorite. Yeah, we like it, don't we? We like that sweet stuff. I mean, most people do. One piece is fine. That's, there's like half a cake. Now what are we going to do? It's so easy to take that second piece that is not going to help us. It's actually going to make us sick. So the body naturally knows when to stop. And it knows what to receive when. But we're so speedy and we're so, how can I say, wanting all the time the second piece of cake or the second beer or talking too much or whatever. If you hold with silence and stillness and sense, your body will guide you moment by moment. This is your natural wisdom coming out. And when it has to do with the outer world, let's say you've had a very busy day at work, you're really tired, the whole gang in the office says, "Hey, Sally, come on, let's go out for a sandwich and a beer." And you say, no, thanks, I'm awfully tired. "Oh, come on, Sally, let's go out." And then everybody's pushing at you. You know what I'm talking about? But if you're real wisdom and you're full of it, you go with what's healthy for you. Everybody says, that's Sally. Just ignore it. And that takes courage. That takes courage. Because we want to be loved, we want to be appreciated, and we think if we just go along with the gang, everything's going to be okay. But maybe not. Naturalism. Heaven and earth. So simple. So tonight I'm going to try to do for you as best I can a composition that represents here and now. Our life consists of here and now. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow hasn't arrived yet. We unfold like everything else in life, little by little, here and now. This material, which actually we're going to use tomorrow as well, was collected from the Georgia world, Atlanta, Georgia world. So it's very here and now. This as well, this is store-bought material, but it's more or less representing the autumnness of the Georgia world. This is not Mexican. This is not native Mexican stuff. This is not native Chilean stuff. This is very temperate zone stuff, but yet we're not really temperate zone, we're kind of a mix here between, as we said earlier. So I'm trying to give people their first step with as much here and now-ness as possible. It's quite difficult unless we just collect from it a while all the time, which is not always easy. Nevertheless, just thought I'd mention that because it's very important. Always when you're doing meditation exercise, you're encouraged to come back to here and now. Because there isn't anything else. And when you actually recognize that you're in here and now, it's already gone. Then we're out. This material is called blue. Well, no, I'm getting into Mark's material. Never mind. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing this as if I'm a talking wall, so I'm doing it for Nick and Jamie-san. You are the students, you are in the front, I'm in the back. I'm doing it backwards. don't think I finished the sentence that I started some minutes ago, so I'll try to finish it. The first exercises that you do when you become a student of the wildflowers are what's called classical work or boot camp work. And you're just learning the relationship of heaven, earth, and man, and just learning the relationship of things in space, or relationship in space, or the space between things in space, or the importance of space, or hierarchy, natural hierarchy, or you're learning all of that. It's nothing to do with prettiness or beauty. It usually ends up pretty and or beauty, sort of, sort of, because the material itself is charming. It's lovely. This is, I'll turn tomorrow, I don't need to know that tomorrow. So the first exercise I'd like to do for you is a basic boot camp exercise. Not only expressing the wisdom of heaven, earth, and man, but also speaking about the way nature unfolds. It has a particular way she unfolds. We'll learn that tomorrow. Now I'm going to turn it around, see what we did, and finish it up. So this is the heaven, earth, man principle. Now you're seeing it from the back, Jamie's son and Nick. There's a form that I'm following, but it's not formula. Do you understand the difference? Yes, no, no, yes, no, yes. Okay, we got a no over there. There's a form. The form says something like, heaven's length is blah, blah, blah. Earth's length is blah, blah, blah. Man's length is blah, blah, blah. But it's just to bake bread. Do you cook well? Anything? Yeah.
Oh, I cook okay.
What is the best thing you cook?
Best I cook?
Yeah, the best thing. Bread, spaghetti, I don't know.
I do eggs.
Eggs?
I can do an omelet.
All right. So how many years have you been doing omelets?
6 months.
Okay, let's go to another topic. What do you do really well in your life? Drive a car? Just
I do that.
but something that
Sometimes I can talk to people really well. I read books really well.
aha. Okay. So you're a really good reader.
I like to think so.
Okay. So you have to select the books you read, is that correct? Over the years of reading books, have you learned to select more quickly and more knowingly which books you feel that will nourish you? Rather than when, let's say, like 25 years ago or whatever.
Right.
Do you ever feel that you kind of have book selection wisdom
I
now?
just do it by impulse.
Oh, that doesn't work then.
I know. I don't really find it.
Thank you for going along with the project. It didn't work. Who cooks? Really well. Okay, what do you cook the best? What do you feel is your best dish or area? Baking or, I don't know, whatever.
Probably working with foods in their most natural, whole forms.
Food, say it again louder, what?
Foods in their most natural forms.
Uh-huh.
And, it's eating that. Well, Julie says I make a good dal.
Duck.
Dal. Dal.
Dal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many years have you been making dal?
Oh. Let's see.
More or less.
I would say probably. You know, to tell you the truth, it was the first food I ever learned how to make. A mushroom. And I was taught how to make dal. Since then, I made dal. That's when I was about 16, and I'm 40 something.
So many years of
So I've
dal.
been making many years of dal making. Yes.
So it's in your blood and fingers now, in your
Sure.
eyes, it's in your tongue. You know what you're doing. And do you find that each batch of dal, what do we call them? Seeds? They're not seeds, they're beans.
Lentils. Lentils.
Lentils, yeah. Do you find that each batch is slightly different? Have you noticed
Yes.
that?
I noticed that there's something different every time.
Wow. So now you don't cook by recipe anymore, you cook by knowing through your senses.
Correct.
It's the same thing here.
Right.
So you're doing this basic thing, I'm doing this basic thing. Okay, good. Thank you very much for being a
Thank you.
Poor things that are broken up so badly in transportation and leaves around. Oh dear, it's life. So after you learn to make dal through your senses, rather than following a recipe book, the same is true also with flower practice. You can make expression that doesn't express the, isn't a little poem or a little, let's call it map of the universe. Rather, it can be a personal feeling expression. So after we finish this one, we'll try one of those. It's called open form. situation, it has to go. So much for us to do in life. Whether the larger situation is your health or the health of the community. Perfect. It's not a metaphor, too. Well, no, it's not. It's the same metaphor. One word can make all the difference in the world. Have you experienced that? Incredible, isn't it? This guy. Well, the flowers are not shipped for Ikebana in America. They're shipped for Western flower arrangements, and things are packed up tight, terribly tight. And the chrysanthemum leaves are always crushed and broken. But they're so beautiful, and they're so much part of a necessary part of a classical arrangement. But they always become like this. But they can be, bits of it can be used because always we have to do this, that, and the other. But it's a pity because they're so lovely. But they're fragile, they're like potato chips. Instead of potato chips.
Yeah.
In Japan, the culture of Ikebana is very old. So the florists and the growers pack and ship things with great care. Everything is sort of wrapped in its own little package. So that when the student and the teachers and the student receive material, it's maybe someday that can happen. Everything little by little. All right, perhaps this is finished. So now I'll turn it for you. One little thingy. So this is celebrating slanted form in nature. And there's a little square here on the, oh maybe I should do that, it might be helpful for you. There's a little square here on the container. So when your body center, I'm going to turn it for you, when your body center and this little square are aligned, that's the viewing point. Okay, so we'll start in this area. I can take a picture. You can close it. You can have a little surprise. That might be fun or it might be irritating. So hang on, we're not quite done yet. Tom, maybe you can pull this baby away very carefully now. Just set it aside. Wherever you feel it going. Just set it aside. No, don't open your eyes yet. The wall is arriving. Okay, you can open your eyes and take a look.
Oh, wow.
There's a baby. Okay. So this is just to illustrate that one thing, one word, will influence the entire universe. So let's do another one. We're trying to do open form, and since we have no time, that's very good. Because that means I can't fool around. And this is good. And you don't know. It's good. It's very good. It's extremely good. There's an edge, a wonderful edge, which allows freshness or learning to, freshness, wisdom, learning to arise. If you make a mistake, there are no mistakes, because you learn. With life, hopefully it's a journey of learning and opening rather than winning and getting it right. Winning and getting it right sticks us like flies to fly paper. And then we just like suffer. We don't have to suffer. That was the message of we don't have to suffer. It takes work. Doesn't come out of our shoebox. You don't buy it. things on what there's some pictures. Trailer park. I don't know, maybe like a 2-incher if there's anything out there. That'd be lovely. One of the guidelines in flow practice and boot camp is you do what's necessary, not what you want. It's a lifelong teaching. It's a teaching for lifelong. Necessary for what? Necessary for everything. Self-love. It's not some kind of made-up philosophy. Nature does it all the time. All the time. All the time. And we are nature, we're not separate from nature. But we've become separated. And that's where we are creating so
Sorry,
much.
I'm having trouble with the connection.
He's trying to talk to you. What? All right, this is gonna be it. It's either fall down or stand up. Are you ready? He's gonna have trouble connecting.
Spiritual.
What?
Spiritual.
And this is an example of open form. And it's seen sort of from here, from here, and from here. So it's more of a wider situation. You can hold it all. Let me just hold it this way. Not all right, so we have 2 minutes for questions and you're welcome.
What did you do with the little, I call it a frog?
Oh, I turned it upside down inside to the wingtip. Because the other one was falling over from the congregation. Something else? Yes?
My favorite part is the whole leaf.
The whole leaf.
Tom wasn't there with the white paper. You could see through the color of the altar and it just,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, sure.
from his perspective, it was
Right.
delightful.
Oh, good. Okay, so then we can look forward to looking at that again. Yeah, sometimes backgrounds are distracting, sometimes they're not. Very helpful. Somebody else, question or remark?
Is there heaven, earth, and humanity?
No, not actually when you actually do it, Sally. In the end, everybody was trained to pick out a heaven and earth and a man situation, but it may not be the same for everybody. And there's a reason for that, and I won't go into it tonight. You take the class. Somebody else?
Mother, I won't be able to make it this week, and I was just wondering if there's any books you could recommend for beginners.
A book?
Yes.
A book. A book. Yes. There's one. Do you want how much nourishment do you want? Do you want like a whole turkey, or do you want?
I always love having, access to it, but I'm also happy to start reading.
All right. So if you want the whole 9 yards, should be on the chase. Thank you, John. Let's see what you can get out of that.
Thank you.
Someone else? Anybody else question or that's a book?
Thank you everyone for coming. If you are in class tomorrow, we start at 9 o'clock. We would also like to set the room up tonight for that. That involves moving a table and some of the gondas and cushions next to the tables on the side. And do you want
No, just for meditation form in the morning, regular meditation form. Just another people.
Right, we're not going to have extra cushions, it'll just be the participants. And thank you, young Sangha, for joining us tonight. It was really fun to have you guys here. Thank you. And everyone else who came too, thank you. Safe travels, and we'll see you tomorrow. Some of you.